Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, two Nigerian brothers sextortion scheme, resulting in a teen deleting himself that they get sentenced. And at the same time, there's an etc. part in this as well. So again, today's topic is two Nigerian brothers that got convicted and sentenced in a sextortion scheme that in this situation resulted in this teen, or adding to it a Caucasian teen in Americanism. See, the thing about it is, just like any other place, etc., there are good people and there are bad people. What? That's no difference in Nigeria. There are good ones and there are bad ones. There are some good ones that no, especially relating to, say, like American Blackism, that there are good Nigerians that would be like, yes, we know that there are certain type of Nigerians that have the hatredness of the American Blacks, that talk bad about American Blacks and stuff like that, as if they're jealous of them. Just like there are certain numbers of Nigerians within certain parts of Americanism, right, that are good. The same, and they know. Yes, we know that without the American Blacks and the turmoil that they have experienced in Americanism for a long time, we know that we get a chance to benefit off what they have been through, right? And we will never disrespect them. We will show them appreciation. But the problem is, it's not going to be a lot of ones that's calling this out. Many are very quiet, right, about this. Very quiet. So in this situation, let me go ahead and show this particular first. Let me show this particular video on this. Give me one moment here.
Two Nigerian men are headed to prison for running an international sextortion ring. It preyed on more than 100 people. ABC's Andrew Dimberg shows us how their scam led a Michigan teenager to take his own life.
This morning, a pair of Nigerian scammers are behind bars here in the U.S., convicted in an internet con that turned deadly.
They solicited and received a compromising image, and then they immediately turned to blackmail their victims, hounding them for money, and even urging their victims to kill themselves if they couldn't pay.
Samuel and Samson Agashi were found guilty of conspiracy to sexually exploit a minor after they extorted Michigan teenager Jordan DeMay. The 17-year-old homecoming king later took his own life, thrusting so-called sextortion into the national spotlight.
It started out with the supposed girl saying, "Hey, we have some friends in common."
The two men targeted DeMay by pretending to be a high school girl named Danny, eventually convincing DeMay to send explicit photos of himself. The scammers then demanded $1,000, threatening if he didn't pay, they would send those compromising photos to his friends and family. DeMay died by suicide just hours later.
When I think about the things that they said to him, it hurts me so bad as a mom to think about what he went through in the last hours.
But now some closure for DeMay's family. The Agashi brothers yesterday were sentenced to 17 years in prison, the first conviction in an alleged sextortion ring involving more than 100 victims.
This is a serious threat that is only getting worse, and it can happen fast. We know that the time from initial contact to Jordan's passing was a mere 2 hours.
If you or anyone you know needs emotional support, you can always call 988, the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
Uh-huh. But American blacks, right, are lazy, and I'm talking about this relating to the not so good Nigerian versions, what I'm talking about. The ones that are allowed, again, this is the ones this applies to, the ones that are allowed to come over. And this is what fear exceptions, they're allowed to come over to Americanism and be a go-between between the American blacks and certain type of Nigerians and things like that, right? Again, I'm not talking about the good Nigerians, because there's some good Nigerian personnel out there that know what's going on. The problem is that there is there are numbers of Nigerians out there that again cannot stand American blacks. Again, it's like almost like a jealousy thing. Again, this is also, and it's a sad thing, right? Because like, what did American blacks do to numbers of Nigerians? Again, I'm not talking about the good ones, right? But what did numbers of American blacks do to certain types of Nigerians? Nothingness. You don't hear American blacks going to the one of the most populous countries in Africa, being Nigeria, one of the most richest countries in Africa, being Nigeria. Now, there might be some other countries in Africa saying, "Hold up, now." Right? They was like, well, you got some questions on that part, right? But the thing about it is, unfortunately, there is an allowability by certain ones within also American blackism to allow certain type of Nigerians to sit there and mouth off with this vile hatredness. Don't the ones that are doing this within Americanism. Because again, there are some good Nigerian personnel. Oh, yes, it is. But again, there are ones also being quiet because they're like, hey, I want to get involved in that. But let certain types of bad enforcement remind some of them, and how many have been reminded. Then it's the, hey, you know what, my brothers and sisters, like, no, go somewhere with that, right? And the crazy part about it, you're talking about demographically, Nigerians in America only make up less than 1%, right? Now, in Nigeria, you're talking about over 200 plus million people in Nigeria, made up of hundreds of ethnic tribalisms, tribes, hundreds of languages, right? On one side of one part of Nigeria, you go down the street to another tribe, they'd be like, hey, there's no intermingling, there's no intermarriage, right? You go about 50, 60 miles away from certain other place in Nigeria, they'd be like, no, we're two different people. You see how that works, right? See how that works. But American blacks are told just call themselves American, right? And not supposed to have their own particular American black is unique culture. You see the nonsense of this. But relating to this particular topic, let me read you something relating to this part. Because remember, I said something about an etc. part in there. They talk about how Samuel Ogoshi, age 24, and Samson Ogoshi, age 21, both of Lagos, Nigeria, were sentenced to 210 months in prison, followed by 5 years of supervised release. 5 years of supervised release for the crime of conspiracy to sexually exploit minors. They talk about how on March 25th, 2022, a 17-year-old high school student, Jordan DeMay, from Marquette, Michigan, basically his life ended as a result of this sextortion scheme, which targeted over 100 victims. Over 100 victims. Remember, American blacks are. You said this goes, right? See, the problem is also there's not enough American blacks that look upon globally of different things. It's this, oh my goodness, skin of globalism means kin of globalism. And now it's a bunch of bull, right? You got some personnel within beautiful Caribbean islands, right? That can't stand other personnel from certain parts of Caribbean islands, right? And again, how many personnel from sections of Africa, right, that can't stand numbers of other African personnel, right? But again, American blacks are told, oh, yeah, I mean, yeah. American blacks are told, yes, Africanism, yes, yes, Africanism, yes, love, 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 romanticizing. And you got numbers of African personnel saying, man, what kind of nonsense is that? There's no fairy tale stuff in various parts of Africanism, right? There's all types of tribalism going on. There's all types of intra country tribalism. There's next door neighbor tribalism, village tribalism, ethnic tribalism, right? And that stuff is brought over to Americanism, the ones this applies to. But American blacks are supposed to be the go between, the great bonder of blackness. But it's not. But American blacks don't get the reciprocity of that. You see where I'm coming from? Let me just throw something for a second. It's almost like this thing with American blacks that are like, hey, you know what? You know, ones they be like, hey, you know what? You know, we are supposed to be brothers and sisters, and oh, this country, oh yeah, you know that country over there, you know what y'all did. I'm talking about the ones it applies to. Oh, you know, you had a big old giant role in also the slaveriness, right? Which then becomes the American blacks in Americanism, right? The ones it applies to, because not all American blacks, right, were enslaved, right? But we're talking about in the collectiveness, right? So it's like, hey, especially if you are the American blacks, say, hey, okay, we can take this particular ancestry test. It says we are of this particular tribe or tribes. Hey, you know what? We'd like to try to get this citizenship. Bam, bam, bam. It should be no questions asked on that part, right? Oh, no, fill the application out, whatever it is. Okay, you want to pay a small fee. That not a problem, right? But there are American blacks who know they are that have paid anyway, that have paid quite enough amount of money to go through certain citizenshyness, right? Expensive. And I'm sure there's American blacks saying, wait a minute, there's a problem with that. Because you can have also numbers of African personnel that go through illegally to the country of America, right? And are not paying quite enough money to reside in Americanism. Oh, that's a whole different topic in itself that people don't want to talk about, right? This thing we're going today is September the 17th, 2024. And the thing what's going on with certain types of Haitian personnel, which is a whole different topic in itself, again, right? Right? Whole different topic in itself. But again, but American blacks supposed to just run in and say, hey, no, do that with our Haitian brothers and sisters, right? But the problem is that our American blacks getting the same reciprocity. You see how that goes, right? So the thing about I make this point is because again, this is a whole different topic, whole different show. I don't want to go into all that. The concept is, can American blacks be like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go over there, just going back to the topic, go to Nigeria and say, hey, man, American blacks are tired of this racism hell that continues to keep going. Americanism, the ones applies to centuries of this black pain. And it's like, hey, man, we're going to go over to Africa. We want to have, my brothers and sisters. And how many numbers of African personnel? Well, let's go back to this topic. In Nigeria, to be like Nigeria to be like, you can come over here unless you are offering some beneficial resources. You ain't finna come over here and be like, my brothers and sisters and American black women are gonna sit there and have this child and that child and automatic citizenship. They ain't gonna let you damn do it. You ain't gonna go over there and be buying up damn land, as American black, not free of charge, going to bond American land and trying to get some resources and stuff like that through whatever programs, and they can try to figure out and over Nigerians. Oh, that ain't gonna happen. You see what I'm talking about, right? See, unfortunately, again, there's not enough numbers of American blackism that can observe through different games and different tactics and use logic, and not saying because a person has blackship or black skin, that's my kinship. That's illogical. So continue with this particular situation on this. They talked about how to criminals who commit these schemes, you are not immune from justice. They will track you down and hold you accountable. This person was talking about, even if we have to go halfway around the world to do so. The day when you could commit these crimes, rake in easy cash, destroy lives, and escape justice is gone, right? These defendants, these two Nigerian brothers defendants, sexually exploited and extorted more than 100 victims, including at least 11 minors. But again, right? American blacks are the problem, right? So there are ones that arrive from Nigeria. I'm talking about the ones this applies to, because there are good ones and there are bad ones. The problem is that the allowability of them as the bad ones are some coonish ones, because there are some coonish ones within certain parts of Nigeria, right? They're allowed to come to America, right? And again, be the go-between, utilized as the black skin one, and they're allowed to be put inside certain politicalness, certain type of business situations, and however personnel grant them however grants and however programs to allow them to start their businesses. Oh, you best believe. See, there are certain types of Nigerians the one applies to that don't want American blacks to know what's going on, right? See, American blacks are told to put yourself by your own bootstraps. And even with that, you got some ones that will say, oh my goodness, why don't the American blacks find their own bootstraps first, right? You see how that goes, right? But they will allow certain types of personnel within certain parts of Nigerianness. I'm utilizing this because this is the example of relating to Nigeria right now, are the ones this applies to be allowed to come to America, to be put in positions, to allow, again, whichever programs economically, right, to be start up their businesses, right? But you like, why couldn't that person do that back in Nigeria in that particular person's area? You see how that goes? Oh, you got that great education, but how come you are in America? That's the question that numbers of American blacks, the ones that use logical sense, that are not being coonish and sellers themselves, the ones this applies to. Okay, if you're over here from a certain parts of Nigeria and you're doing your thing, you're not trying to talk down upon American blacks, because then you get your feelings hurt, right? Because then it's like you get called out and say, who the hell do you personnel think this person is? You come here, but the same damn to get away from people that look like that person and that person's own places of Nigeria. And then you're very tribalism in various parts. So you bring that tribalism mentality over to Americanism, but then you got a nerve to talk down upon American blacks. Then you got your damn mind, right? See, they know it's not enough American blacks that'll sit there and get on that tail for that nonsense, right? And then call out some of the Nigerians that are not calling this out, right? See, that quietness, right, equals to being guiltiness. Now, there's some situations where I don't know, that's a whole different topic. It's like, oh, so that personnel from certain parts of Nigeria, you arrive over into America, you do your thing. But at the same damn time, it's like, hey, if you're not also relaying over some time, right? Yes, we know there's some Nigerians that do bring that tribalism stuff to America, stuff like that. There are ones that can't stand American blacks because they are jealous. Okay, credit give to the ones that are bringing this up. But being quiet, right? Stand on one side, and then again, if you get that person from Nigeria that gets reminded, every so often ones get reminded, oh my goodness, we are black. No, stay asses over there. So, in trying to finish up this article, and this results in the tragic life ending of the 17-year-old high school student. These sentences should serve as a warning that the perpetrators of online sexual exploitation and extortion cannot escape accountability for their heinous crimes by hiding behind their phones and computers. And so I want to go over, lastly, some of the comments here, right? Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I want to go over something. This particular aide in Nigeria is part of Nigeria. They were saying that, give me a second, I'm not going to say the name of that person, this aide in this particular, I would say in this certain parts of Lagos state, I'll put like this. they relayed that they've urged Nigerians to cut down on expenses to adapt to the present economic challenges facing the country. Let me relay this again. This particular aid in this particular part of Lagos State has urged Nigerians to cut down on expenses to adapt to the present economic challenges facing the country, right? They talking about how we need to start cutting our costs pending the time things will stabilize. Everything has increased. Transportation costs and standard of living has skyrocketed. We have to reduce costs. The present situation has become a burden on us, so we have to be economical. And to see the thing about it is, and so there are certain numbers of American blacks who would listen to that and say, wait a minute now. I mean, that's, and it makes sense. What I'm saying is that it's like, so when there are certain ones within Nigeria, the one this applies to, the ones that come over to Americanism, be it illegally. Oh, we're going to forget. Oh, we're going to act like there's never been no Nigerians that came across the southern border illegally. And that damn surely is. However, numbers of Nigerians that do have came across that border legally. But people are very quiet on that. You see how that goes? And however, some other different countries in Africa, there are ones that have been border breaking illegal immigrant personnel as well from certain sections of Africa. The ones that have been caught and the ones that have not been caught. A whole different topic in itself, right? But again, the focus on, the Haitians. I got all that, right? Whole different topic in itself. Because again, American blacks are supposed to be, again, the bona fide of the great American black bonders of blackness. But when it concerns others, there is no reciprocityness of blackness. Even the conversation about reparations show that. The conversation about lineage base shows that, right? The hatred of numbers of some others that got black skin, the ones applies to, but have the nerve to put their damn mouth, their freaking mouths in conversations that they have no purpose of conversating about. You don't tell American blacks about reparations. Who the hell do some people think they are, right? But they know there's not enough American blacks that'll check that mouth of theirs to let them know, who the hell do you think you are? You don't tell American blacks what they should think about reparations. Now, again, I'm not talking about the coonish and sellouts, numbers that within American blackism who do the bid and a certain other one. I don't go into all that. So what I just read you. Now, remember, again, see, there are certain types of Nigerians that one applies to that don't want this kind of stuff to be talked about, right? Right? It's like there are certain economics going on in the ancientness of Nigeria. And there's also, again, not just tribalism, but intra-economic tribalism. How many numbers of Nigerians look down upon other Nigerians left and right? There's no this consistent intra-Nigerian loveness for one another. That's not even logic. You got numbers of Nigerians be like, hey, hold on now. Do not put us in some in general Nigerianist box. You can say Nigerians, but that's the far as it go. But don't be trying to make it seem like that we had this intra-Nigerian love. You got numbers of us trying to get the hell away from Nigeria, left and right. The last thing I wanted to read is they talked about how, now I make this point because remember, there are certain numbers of Nigerians, the ones applies to, again, the ones that arrived in America, the ones who do this. Oh, American blacks are lazy. Oh my goodness. You're like, who the hell does this person think they are? And they can't even get things situated where they originally come from, parts of Nigeria. You see the nerve of some people? And then you have some people say, oh, certain Nigerians are some of the most educated. You don't go to hell with that bull crowd. Nigerians make up less than 1% of America. And then you ask the question, which college that person go to, right? What college? They went to this college. And you say, look at what the college they person went to in Nigeria, to the ones applies to, the ones that open their mouth up with that, I'm educated for Nigeria, but they run over here to America. I'm talking about the ones that open their mouth and do that. Not they got education in Nigeria and allowed to come to America, and they don't sit there and be trying to cause no trouble. Now, I ain't talking about them, right? Because actually there's a lot more that are arriving that have the audacity to try to talk down on American black and have the nerve to talk about using education also as thinking that makes them smarter than American blacks, who, how many numbers of Nigerians couldn't even survive in America for centuries of what American blacks have had to go through. Get the hell out of here for the ones who do that. And then the question is again, oh, you trying to pop up education? The nerve? He said, which college do you go to? I went to this college in certain parts of Nigeria. He said, what is the ranking of that college in Nigeria compared to countries around the world? And you see, I don't want to go there. I would just say it's not even in the it's not even in the top rankings. When somebody tries to use certain colleges in Nigeria, you say, what ranking are they? Not taking away anything from that. Just saying when ones that try to rank up that, oh, none of Nigerians are the most educated. And you say from which college? Because you say, oh, they come over here. The ones that come over here to go to college over here do their thing. Right? And you say, wait a minute, but that person couldn't go to college over in Nigeria? You say, I go. And the person that goes to college in Nigeria, you say, okay, what ranking is that college in the world's rankings? Very low. So again, this is not about the good number of Nigerians that are not trying to sit there and talk down. The thing about it, if the ones were really using some logic, I'm going to tell you something. I mean, more logic, or some people more, how the benefit of numbers of Nigerians should be trying to get with even more American blacks. Just saying. All right. What I was saying, that this thing was talking about how the minimum wage for a certain type of gov workers and stuff like that. They talk about how public sector workers in Nigeria on the minimum wage will see their salaries double after the gov reach an agreement and stuff like this. The new minimum monthly wage is set at 70,000 naras, which is about what, $44. The new minimum monthly wage is set at 70,000 naras, about $44. But American blacks are lazy, right? American blacks are poor, right? Get the hell out of here with that. Despite being one of the top crude oil producers in Africa, Nigeria remains one of the world's poorest countries. Now, I can't go with that because that's a whole different topic. But it also says chronic corruption means the lifestyle of certain officials never mirrors that of the general population. So I make this point is there are certain types of Nigerians that should never say a damn thing about American blacks. There are quite a number of very well educated American blacks. There are quite a number of very well numbers of American blacks that are doing very well. Right? There are quite a number of American blacks that have businesses. But see, in this system supremacy that is the most awesome mental manipulation force that ever existed, that's not what they want to show. Right? It's got to be the black on black crime, black on black crime. They got to try to portray that like as if American black men are just running from relationships left and right, having babies with this person, that person, even though again, even though collective American blacks do not sit there and do that. American black males do not do that. Right? Collectively, American blacks are the most personnel that are the most active in their children's lives, be it primary, which then it would be, or non-primary. Right? They want to talk about that. Overall, it's more American black males that don't have kids. Right? You see how that goes? Right? But it's opposite in the supremacist system. Try to make it seem like that the majority of black males do have kids. You see how this game goes. So then you have certain type of Nigerians, because this is sticking to the story about certain numbers of Nigerians that are running from Nigeria, the one this applies to, right? And over in America, the one this applies to, that are not minding their business relating to not talking about American blacks. There are ones who do that. I'm not talking about them. But the ones who do and have run from Nigeria as fast as possible, right? From Harvard tribalism, running from Harvard intra-economic tribalism, intra-ethnic tribalism, right? Social tribalism, right? Et cetera, et cetera. They have the audacity to open their damn mouth up about American blacks. And again, this is not about certain numbers of good numbers of good Nigerians out there, right? As long as the ones understand, for without the American blacks, many would not be allowed to be in this country of Americanism. Because again, logical common sense would shut down that mouth with logic to say, wait a minute now, what's the percentage of Nigerians in America? Less than 1%. Less than 1% within Americanism of Nigerians is less than 1% in America. Out of over 300 plus million. Do you see how it goes? And American blacks make up what, 45%, 12 to 14% of the population. You see how this goes, right? American blacks will not dare to go to Nigeria and have the nerve, as certain Nigerians do in America, to talk down upon American blacks. You're like, how dare the hell some talk American blacks? And need to know some places, right? And there are numbers of American blacks that need to checkmate certain type of Nigerians and say, who the hell do you think you are? The one it supplies to. Your education means not a damn thing in Americanism. Because the only thing they got to say is tell some of those hot polluting Nigerians, the ones who think they're all that have been allowed to get in certain type of politicalness, the ones it supplies to, that have benefited off of black pain to getting freebie resources, right? The ones that do, for starting their businesses up, etc., that they couldn't do in that person's own country, right? He said, okay, take your asses over there to certain types of southern towns and play that game, right? Southern, I'm talking about the ones that are the still continuously sundown towns. You ain't gonna sit there and hear about no damn numbers of Nigerians going to sundown towns and talking about how educated they are. That ass would be they would be reminded very fast, right? Take them to certain types of cities, or certain suburbs areas, right? And think they're gonna sit there and talk crazy to certain other ones within the Panama-based culture. Oh, there are certain Nigerians that know that place. So that goes, right? So again, to the good numbers of Nigerians, credit given to you. I'm just relaying to you that some should say something a little bit more about certain type of Nigerians that need to know their places. And don't have the audacity to talk down upon American blacks, who are some of the most educated ones themselves, right? There are American blacks that are very well educated, right? That are doing very well. That ain't committing criminality. That ain't using the N-word left and right. They're not sitting there, and that are not sitting there trying to bleach the crap out of their skin as certain type of Nigerians do. Right? And it's definitely not American blacks trying to run to Nigeria and break immigration laws, because certain parts of Nigeria, how many numbers of personnel in Nigeria ain't gonna have that. You see how that goes, but there's however numbers of Nigerians that are running to, toward certain type of southern borders illegally, becoming border breakers. We don't have that kind of conversation. So again, to the good numbers of Nigerians, keep doing your thing. This is about numbers of the bad ones and numbers of ones that have the nerve to try to talk down upon American blacks. Now, these particular two Nigerian brothers from Nigeria got remanded and brought their asses back over to them and extradited their asses back to have them brought to America. You're like, oh, no. Those days of continue sitting there and doing scamming, and especially if it's toward certain ones certain ones within the Panamese culture, and that ends in that person's life being deleted, they remove them lives and things like that. Oh, they said they're not going to tolerate that as much now. So I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP show. You know what? Actually, this is the extra bonus. I almost forgot. For the people who actually stuck around, there are some comments. Almost forgot. There are some comments actually I wanted to read real fast. Someone said, very, very sad. Nigeria is supposed to be the most respected country of our continent. Very sad. Nigeria is supposed to be the most very sad. Nigeria is supposed to be the most respected country on our continent, but due to bad attitudes of a few, some good Nigerians try to hide their country of origin. That's very unfortunate. Another person said, had these been 3 American scammers responsible for the removing of life of a Nigerian teenager, do you think the American gov would have extradited them to Nigeria? See the deflection, right? See, that's that self-hatred part, right? He's like, oh my goodness, right? It's deflection. Another comment said, giving Nigeria bad image. I know how I was looked down in New York by my coworkers. I really felt bad. What do you think American blacks feel every goddamn hot damn day? The one millions of American blacks feel every damn day, right? Having to go through black pain, right? Another one said, yes, the scammers need to be punished, but a 17-year-old has access to a boom piece of equipment. I think that's the big issue. Remember what I read? They was talking about it was over 100 other victims, and numbers of them were minors. You see how that goes, right? See the deflection on that? The other one said, well, always Nigerians, right? You know nothing. Another person deflecting. You know nothing about Nigeria, so stop spilling rubbish about Nigeria. You're like, that don't even. Another comment, because they think they will be untouchable in their country. Wrong this time. Some are poor, but that doesn't give them a green light to scam others. So glad their actions result in consequences. Another one, but they keep speaking boldly on Black American issues. Bam. And this other person says, don't let them disrespect you in your own country. Last one, these scammers keep giving Nigeria a bad name. About 20% of Nigeria are now scammers, and we Nigerians just continue with our daily activities as it is normal. We're scammed or almost scammed on WhatsApp almost every month. This is not normal. This is a major problem that we need to focus on solving in Nigeria. Even more than the corrupt leaders, the guys are causing havoc. We all need to work together to stop all the scammers in Nigeria. Just saying, right? There are numbers of Nigerians don't want no focus on Nigerian scammers. They like, hold on, man. It ain't all Nigerians like that. Of course it's not. That's not even common. That's not even logical sense. But that's not the point, right? Because look at American Blackism. You got numbers of Nigerians, the ones it applies to, that again have never looked down upon American blacks and act like that it's all black folks that are criminal. All black folks are lazy. Are you crazy? And numbers of American blacks saying, I know you ain't talking. You come from what? A country, an historical continent. In Nigeria, we're like, I'm just giving an example, 95, 99% black, African, because you got some other Indians and some Chinese and some other cultures, etc. Higher others in Nigeria, but we talking about logical sense. What, 95, 99% can be still black? That should be common sense. right? And some of the things that go in Nigeria, and then it's like, but that person arousing the ones positive, arousing in Americanism, right? To get to Americanism, the high numbers of Nigerians are border break illegal immigrant personnel. But again, most people won't talk about that. But the ones that do come over legally, and again, even with that, it's going to be a small amount of ones that are not about trying to talk bad about American blacks, because again, the system, they are not going to allow numbers of Nigerians in a collective to be allowed to come to America to hook up with American blacks and trying to help build things and try to help understand. You understand? That's not the way that's not the way the system works. They want more sellouts because they be like, they're not even a halfway supremacist, not even halfway concerned about Nigerians taking over at all. But they will use numbers of Nigerians as a filler, as a skin to black. You see how that goes. Again, I thank you truly for tuning in to the Real CP Show, because this is, again, a timepiece purpose.